morning's reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 65, text number 16. Samprasanas Krishnasya Sandesya Hridayam Gamya Santavarayam Sa Bhagavan Nanu Govida Sankrasanasata Krishnasya Sandesya Hridayam Gamay Santvayam Sahasa Bhagavan Nanu Annaya Govida Sankrasanasayata Krishnasya Sandesya Hridayam Gamay Santavyayam Asa Bhagavan Nananunaya Govida Lord Balaram, the supreme character. Then Krishnasya of Lord Krishna. Sandesya by the confidential messages. Hridaya the heart. Gamya touching. Santavyam console. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Nana of the various kinds. Anunaya in consideration. Govida expert. Translation by Divine Grace, SWAMI, Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord Balaram, the attractor of all beings, the attractor of all, being expert at various kinds of conciliation, console the gopis by relaying to them the confidential messages of Lord Krishna had sent to him. These messages deeply touched the gopis' heart. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following words from Vishnu Purana 5:24-20. It describes the message Lord Balaram wrote from Krishna for the gopis. Sandesya sama mudharai prema garbhaya pravyati ramasya ramasya gopya Krishna iti manohara. Lord Balaram consoled the gopis by giving them Lord Krishna's most charming messages, which expressed sweet conciliation, which were inspired by his pure love for them, and which were without a tinge of pride. Srila Jiva Goswami also comments that the use of the name Sankarshan here implies that Balaram attracted Lord Krishna to appear in his mind. In this way, he showed Sri Krishna to the gopis. Thus, Balaram consoled Sri Krishna's beloved girlfriends. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that Lord Krishna sent various messages. Some instructed the gopis in a traditional knowledge, others were conciliatory, and still others revealed the Lord's powers. Besides its given meaning, the word Hridaya Gamya also indicates that these messages were confidential. Om Jnana-Jnanasya Jnana-Jnana-Salakaya Chakshurumlitam-yena Tasmai Sri-Gurave Namah Panchakalpa-rubhyascha Kripa-sindhu-bhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, first of all, I'd like to go for my blessings to all the Vaishnavas here, especially amongst you, there are many senior Vaishnavas here. So, firstly, it is humbling to speak about the transcendental Bhagavatam in front of such exalted Vaishnavas. So, please forgive me if I am not in the right mood of presenting Bhagavatam. Also, this topic which we are discussing here today, Lord Balaram's visit to Vrindavan, is very confidential matters. And unfortunately, I am not in one of those categories where I understand confidential matters of the Lord. I only understand very simply what Prabhupada has given us. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So, my limits of understanding the spiritual life is just ends with chanting Hare Krishna. And also begins with Hare Krishna. So here, of course, this verse is mentioned that Lord Balaram was carrier of message of Lord Krishna when he visited Vrindavan. So we all know that at some point in Krishna's Leela, he had manifested Vrindavan. He was performing all his wonderful pastimes in Gokul, then in Nandagam, then also his pastimes in the forest of Vrindavan. It was not just one forest, but many 12 forests of Vrindavan, and tending with all the cows and cows. And then the other nights he was playing around with his boyfriend. Other nights he was having wonderful relationship with all the wonderful gopis, cow girls. And this was all going on. And at some point, they were quite happily engaged in the presence of Krishna, enjoying this personal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And then all of a sudden, Akrura comes, says, "My dear Lord Krishna, time to leave Vrindavan." So, of course, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, as Prabhupada explains. Krishna is always, 24/7 in Vrindavan. Even today, if you are fortunate enough, you probably see Krishna walking around with his flute to the banks of Jamuna. So, we are not fortunate enough. We are not fortunate enough to see that unless and until we purify our heart, our vision to see Krishna. We actually cry for Krishna. We haven't actually learned to cry for Krishna. We have actually learned to cry for Krishna. And Prabhupada explains just like the child crying for his mother. And when the child is crying, the mother is then going to the child to console the child. It was, "My dear child, what do you need? Are you soiled? Are you hungry? And the mother will take care of the child and comfort the child. So similarly, when we learn to cry to Krishna like the child crying to his mother, then Krishna will look to us and glance upon us. Then he will come and of course he will console us also. Because we have been separated from Krishna since the beginning of time, going from one birth to another birth. We don't remember any of these births. So we are under an illusion, we think this is the only birth I have. And we are not also preparing to give up this birth. You would live in this life forever and ever and ever. Of course, that is the nature of the soul. Satchitananda, that it is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. But as long as we are part of this material body, you will never experience eternity. Although technically we understand from Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, Krishna describes very clearly that the soul never dies. It never ceases to exist, it's always there. So from that we have to have full faith in the words of Krishna. The soul will never die, can never be cut, can never be burned by fire, can never be drowned by water. But just like, this wonderful experience of the soul is given. But would you enter a burning house? Well, I'm not going to get burnt. We have fear because we'll get burnt. Or you jump into Jamuna in the rainy season when the water is full flow and you feel that you will drown. The soul doesn't drown in water, but the body drowns. So we know from experience that this body is always going to be troublesome or will cease at some point. But explanation given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is very clear that the soul never ends. It doesn't die, it's eternal. So, what is our business? Our business is to remember Krishna. And Prabhupada many times says this, I have come to remind you of what you've forgotten. We've forgotten God. So, unless and until we remember Krishna and connect with Krishna, then we will continue merrily in our life, in the ups and downs of this material world, the army, the devotee, the devi, will continue. And we will struggle for existence. And then along comes one wonderful devotee. And he says, my dear living entities, you are suffering in this material world. Let me show you a way out. So, just like here, Lord Balaram, he brought the transcendental message from Krishna to console the gopis. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada also brought the transcendental message for us to be awakened to the righteous path and take to Krishna consciousness. So, of course, as I said, that at that point when Akrura took Krishna away from here and he went to Mathura, on the premises that I will go to Mathura, do my business, and then come back. And the gopis were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And Krishna, after killing Kansa and reinstalling Ugrasena on the throne of Mathura, he went on to Dwarka. And in Dwarka, he was quite happily engaged himself in another different lila, because of course the Lord has promised so many different living entities to give their association and have a different kind of pastime and different rasas. So all the queens of Dwarka were all the sages who wanted to have personal pastime with Lord Ramachandra. So Ramachandra said, no, not now. This time I have a different mission. But I will come in Dwarka Yuga and then I will take care of you there. So these queens were all born, who were the sages from the Treta Yuga and Ramachandra's pastimes. And Krishna was obliging to fulfill their desires. So of course Krishna is going to fulfill everyone's desire, every living entity. He is not limited. Unfortunately, we can't see his unlimitedness. All we can see is limitedness of him. And we try to think that Krishna is only in one place, he can only do so many things. So anyway, the point is that Krishna was quite happily living in Dwarka and enjoying himself in his very Ishwaric bhav in the palaces of Dwarka. And then along comes Duryodhana and Arjuna to ask for his help. That there's going to be a battle now. This is the battle should and we need your help. So of course we know from the Mahabharata now that Krishna said, okay, I give you a choice. Either I will join you or my Narayan Sena will join you. You can choose whichever you want. So of course Duryodhana was first there, standing. So Krishna went and put his hand and saw Duryodhana. So he said, okay Duryodhana, since you are first, I'll give you the first choice. Now, Arjuna knew very well Krishna is not going to disappoint him. So by Yoga Maya, Duryodhana was given intelligence to say, Krishna, if you are not going to fight, what good are you going to be in my party? Better I take you Narayan Sena. There's army, you are going to fight for me. Because this is better. I don't want a decoration in my party. So then Krishna said, okay, show me, you take my Narayan Sena. And Arjuna looked at Arjuna and said, he brought a short straw and Arjuna said, this is the shortest straw, which is the best for me. Because I was praying that you would be with me. And of course we all know wherever Krishna is, there is always victory. So Krishna went and they had the battle of Kurukshetra, everything is done and dusted. Yudhishthira Maharaj is installed on his throne in the Hastinapur. Now Krishna goes back to Dwarka to enjoy his retirement, you can say. And what happens? At the appropriate time, Krishna is feeling all these people who were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra, they need salvation. So let me go and do the Sarada ceremony for them in Kurukshetra. In Kurukshetra, where of course we see today many people go and perform the ceremonies there at Bhishma Kondan. So when Krishna arrived in Kurukshetra with his brother and his sister Subhadra to perform all the ceremonies, word spread very quickly to Braj that Krishna is here. So the Brajvasis said, okay, this is it. Krishna promised to come back and he did not come. All the Brajvasis rushed all the way to Kurukshetra. And Krishna was performing all the ceremonies, everything. And then finally after everything is done and dusted, Krishna said, now time to go back to Dwarka. But the Brajvasis, especially the gopis, we are having none of this. You told us you're coming back, you were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and you didn't turn up. Now you have no choice, but we are going to take you back to Vrindavan. So they unleashed the horses from the chariots and pulled the chariot all the way from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. And that pastime also we are observing every year in month of July in Jagannath Puri, the famous Rath festival. So in that whole episode, Krishna is being taken from the temple to Gundicha temple, which is Vrindavan. So when Krishna came here to Vrindavan, he fulfilled all the gopis' desires. But then at some stage, Krishna went back again. He didn't stay here. Because the Vrindavan pastime is when Krishna is in his youth, his childhood, his adulthood. Krishna's pastime is in a different realm. So he is performing his pastime in Dwarka. Nonetheless, when Balaram came to Vrindavan, and all the gopis were anxious and anxiety that here is Balaram, he must have brought some message for us. So they started inquiring, just like even in our own ordinary dealings, when we haven't seen someone for a long time, and that person visits you from another part of the world, and immediately you inquire from him. And how's our friends, how's our parents, how's our relationships, this, that, and that. You inquire for everyone. Why? Because you want to know what's happening. Even though today, modern day, we have mobile phones, where you just have to use your mobile phone and connect anywhere in the world with great ease. Still, even you have video conferencing and you see the person on the other end, you're not satisfied. You want to still know more about them because you have kind of a relationship and attachment with him. But this, of course, is a mundane attachment. But the gopis have a very transcendental attachment with Krishna. It is the eternal one, full of love, as the Prabhupada mentioned in the Bhagavad. That there is not a tinge of materialism in their relationship. It is very pure and transcendental. So, suppose these gopis who are in anxiety, And then Balaram is the carrier of this message from Krishna. So Lord is the proper message to Prabhupada that Lord Balaram he was praying to Krishna to manifest in his heart. And then that message would then come out. Now how that message came out, I don't know. I wasn't present at that time. But I would assume that Lord Balaram, being not different from the Supreme Lord himself, he had some mystic powers to project what's in his heart, what the message is carrying in a outward way, so that the gopis who were there, they could receive this message and then become, completely in ecstasy. So here, you can see that it's mentioned that when the gopis heard all this beautiful message brought from Krishna by Balaram, they were feeling little consoled and satisfied that, okay, even if Krishna is still not physically present here, but we are hearing about him. So of course, most important is not to see Krishna physically. The process for us in this age is to hear about him. Even the Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami starts, Nityam Bhagavad Seva. Constantly hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also gave us the process of chanting the holy names constantly. But in what state of mind is it chant? Constantly chant the holy name. So Mahaprabhu was also giving us the platform through which we can connect with Krishna. But in what mood we should chant. We should not forget. So mostly, in my experience, we see that the devotees say, okay, be humble. So we try to be humble, but it's very difficult to be humble. Because the ego is so big and arrogance is so much that you get some power, some position, some respect. Yes, and someone's very special. And ego gets boosted. So humility is very, very difficult. And tolerance is practically impossible. Although we say, become tolerant like a tree. And we try to tolerate to some point, but at some stage of our limits of tolerance, immediately we explode with anger, and there's no control after that. So tolerance is not there. And of course, we have to be free from false ego. To be free from false ego is practically impossible. Unless until you get special mercy of the Lord in the Spirit of God. Of course, the Lord is always there to give you mercy. Whether we accept His mercy or not is another business. But His pure devotee is always there to give His association. And by His association, our false ego is smashed. And sometimes we don't like, especially those who are disciples of a particular guru, and that guru sometimes chastises you, and you feel pain in your heart. I'm serving him, I'm a menial servant of him, and he's chastising me. It's very painful. Nobody wants that. But of course, that is his business to remind you you're insignificant. So sometimes I see we have special programs in our temples all over the world, and in special events we issue special rosette here. It says VIP. And everybody says VIP. So I said, actually, we have misunderstood the meaning of VIP. In our egoistic, pride, arrogance, VIP means very special person. But really, VIP means very insignificant person. We are very insignificant. There is nothing significant for us. So really, if you want to become real VIPs, become significant. So then we will be free from false ego. And the next one is we don't pay so much attention. Amanina. One should not expect respect at all, but one should be ready to look for all respect to others. Proper translation is amanina. One should give all respect to others. Now all others means we do not become selective. Who I am going to give my respect to? Or to all others, devotees and non-devotees. Of course, in the larger picture, everybody is a devotee of the Lord. Only some remember and some forgotten. But you should see all living entities as very, very dear to Krishna. Therefore, we should show all respect to everything. In Upanishad it says, any man and inanimate object. So living beings and non-living beings also we should give respect, not misuse or abuse anything. Because ultimately everything is Krishna's energy. So if you disrespect these things, then you disrespect Krishna. And if you disrespect Krishna, then Krishna is saying, okay, that's what you want. Okay, no problem. I'm very tolerant. When you come to your senses, then you will realize what you've done, what mistakes you've done, what wrong you've done. And if you correct that, then Krishna says, okay, you're back in the inner circle. Otherwise, you're out in the outer circle. And you're out in the outer circle thinking, I want to go in. It's okay, you can come in anytime you want. But there is a price to pay for it. So of course, when you follow this simple process what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, then we can chant the holy names without any difficulty. Although all of us generally have great difficulty in chanting the holy name. You can chant everything else but not the holy name. Holy name is kind of is something which we are kind of forcing ourselves. Unless until you have developed taste for chanting, you won't want to waste even a moment without chanting holy name of the Lord. But what we do is we have our japa and we have our fancy nice counterweights here. You can see mine is very fancy from here. And then we go to 1 mala, 2 mala, 16 and okay. That's it then. That chanting done for the day. It's not done. You should be remembering constantly more and more, just like in our material experience. When you have some deep attachment to someone and that person is not within your close proximity, what do? You think about that person all the time. How I can go and see that person, how I can go and meet that person, how we can be physically together. Constantly doing that. But why not for Krishna? Because ultimately Krishna is supposed to be the love of our heart. But we don't have the same kind of attraction for Krishna. We're trying, but we don't have the same attraction. I give this example. Young boys and girls, they're growing up, and as soon as they hit their adolescence, the hormones in the body start playing up. And then actually, young boys see a girl, and girls see young boys, hello. Cupid arrows flying everywhere, and love is in the air, and you have deep feeling for each other. And then you have kind of attachment for each other. Unfortunately, time has its own different way of dealing with things. So you are in one classroom, and the other partner, love of your life is in another classroom, and the teacher is saying, okay, boys and girls, pay attention. Today, chapter 6, you're going to do this, that, and another. Both classes are going on. Teacher is doing his business. To teach the student that's his business in school. But then the boy and girl sitting there, drawing little sweethearts in the book. And writing the name of the dear lover. Boy is writing the girl's name, the girl is writing the boy's name. And there's so much thinking about each other. Because they have some kind of material attraction to each other. But that attraction doesn't last long. Because sooner or later that attraction is going to go. And you move on to a new body, and then you have a new person to be attracted, and you keep going in this cycle. But we have to develop this kind of attachment for Krishna. So this transcendental subject matter which Bhagavatam is giving us is to bring us to that level, to hear about Krishna. And when you hear more and more about Krishna, more and more you get to know about Krishna, and more you know about Krishna, more and more you want to know about him. Just like Parikshit Maharaj. When there is a conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami is speaking, and after he finished speaking, Parikshit, I want to know even more. I want to know more. He doesn't see this. He doesn't say, well, I get it. For us, we pick up a Bhagavatam, read one chapter, and I say, oh, that's it. Close the book and finish. I'm doing tomorrow. Do you ever feel the need and the urge that you start with Canto 1? And you start reading and keep going until you reach the end of the 10th canto without stopping. Can we do that? We can't. Parikshit was sitting there for 7 days, constantly hearing, even if he doesn't want to take a break. And Sukadeva Goswami is continuing speaking and speaking. Why? Because this is so relishing. And then the part where Sukadeva Goswami was explaining to Parikshit Maharaj about the Pandavas. You know, this chapter was saying timely retirement of the Pandavas. And Sukadeva Goswami is describing the pastime of the Pandavas. And although Parikshit Maharaj is the grandson of the five Pandavas, he grew up with them. He knows them very well. But still, he wants to hear more about them. Why? Because he's attracted to the glories of the Lord and his devotees. So similarly, we have people of the same mood to connect with Krishna through our hearing. And our process is very simple. Prabhupada has emphasized so much that this process which is emphasized by Prabhupada, is Prahlad Maharaj at the age of 5 years, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarana. Now we all know this. I don't think anybody here in this audience would not know about Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarana. But how many of us are so eager to do this Shravanam and Kirtanam? And when our Shravanam and Kirtanam is perfect, then how many of us are in Smarana? Remember, it's very difficult. Because we are not attracted to this subject matter. We are attracted to something which is mundane and material. Now, I will not give any example of anybody else, but I'll give my own example. I joined the movement, moved into the temple in 1979, and I came into contact with ISKCON around 1975. So 75 to 79, it took me that long to convince myself that this is the path I want to give. So finally in 1979, I said, okay, this is it. I'm going to join the ashram and give my life to Prabhupada and his mission, and try to do something little from Prabhupada's mission. He did so much at the age of 70. I'm still in my prime at that time. I should do something for Prabhupada to attract Prabhupada's mercy. So I joined, and I was then practicing our different devotees who are guiding us in our spiritual life, giving us many instructions of how to become a perfect devotee. Give up all mundane things, give up material things, chant Hare Krishna, go out on Sankirtan. So we are very busy, engaged ourselves in the transcendental process of Krishna consciousness is given to us by Prabhupada. And there I was one summer afternoon, driving in central London, going on to visit some people to raise funds for our temple. And at a traffic light, the car stopped. And it was a nice sunny day, warm day, so the window was down. The red light was there, so we had to wait like 2-3 minutes. The car next to me was there, and in the radio, in his radio, was the 70s music going on. And as soon as I heard the music, I started singing the lyrics. And then the green light went step on and went on. Then I was thinking, what the hell am I singing this mundane song? I have not sung that, I have not heard that song in 35 years. Before I joined the movement, I used to hear this thing. But since I joined the movement, no mundane music. 35 years later, I'm singing the lyrics. Can you imagine? I remember the lyrics and the tune. As soon as the musical tune came, boom, the lyrics started bursting out, and I started singing the lyrics. Completely mundane lyrics. I was thinking, later on I was kind of introspecting myself. Why? That is because I had so much attraction and love for this music and this mundane song that I still remember it 35 years later. Now I've been reading Bhagavad Gita ever since I joined the movement. I don't know, I forgot how many times I've read Bhagavad Gita. But when it comes to remember the sloka, I said, it doesn't come. I've read it so many times, but it doesn't come. But the mundane lyrics, boom, just one little musical tune and then you're off. This is the attraction of material world. So of course, my realization from that was that we have to give up these things and develop attraction for Krishna, hearing about Krishna. And more we hear about Krishna, then eventually we will develop taste for it. That we will have that eagerness to hear more and more and more. Any time something happens, remember Krishna. Otherwise, you will forget Krishna. And if you forget Krishna, And all this hard work which we are putting in our lives up to now, like I seen some quite a few senior devotees here, including myself, going past 60. You're not getting any young. But if you cannot remember now, then it will be very hard to actually progress further. So the whole concept of what Prabhupada has given us through this transitional purpose of Srila Prabhupada is to remember Krishna. And every day we should be thinking from morning when we wake up till night when we go to sleep. Think of Krishna. All the time, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Either chanting or reading. Chanting or reading. And nowadays we are in such an advanced technological environment that you have these small MP3 players, you have your earbuds, stick it in there and just listen. Even when you're sleeping, put the buds on and listen to Kirtan. And sleep to the sweet Kirtan. You'll be, and very soon you'll go into deep sleep, but the mind will be hearing Krishna. And when you hear more about Krishna, and you wake up in the morning, you'll be fresh there. Otherwise, you'll be thinking about all the anxieties you have done through the day. Will come like flooding into your mind at night, and most likely instead of dreaming about Krishna, playing his flute on the banks of Jamuna, will be having nightmares. And when you wake up in the morning, you'll go, and you will be completely drained out. And when you're drained out, what happens next day? You cannot give good quality time for service and chanting again. So of course, we have to kind of focus all these wonderful purposes that Prabhupada has given is to constantly remind us of the beauty of Krishna consciousness and insight of different pastimes of the Lord and His devotees. And more we remember these things, and more we will be attracted to it. More and more we will become attracted. Our life is very much easy because we remember Krishna then 24/7. Otherwise, it is very difficult to remember Krishna 24/7. So today also we are observing, take about 5 minutes to stand, the 18th Tirubhav ceremony of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. And we have been observing this since 2006. We have a tradition. We observed the day before here in Vrindavan, and then the next day the actual Dashera. So there's some confusion now according to the calendar. Some observed it yesterday, some observed it today. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter when you observe. It is the observance which is more important. So tomorrow there will be a ceremony in observance of Guru Bhav in Vrindavan, but we do it here in Vrindavan. And since Maharaj took his Samadhi in Calcutta, and from Calcutta, he came here to Vrindavan and spent one night here in Vrindavan. And after spending one night here in Vrindavan, in the morning, he came to see his dear spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And he seek Prabhupada's blessings. And then he went to Radhakrishna to sit in his transcendental Samadhi, in his Nitya Lila in Radhakrishna. So of course, we are celebrating this. It is very painful for the disciples to celebrate the disappearance of the spiritual master. But I personally now have come after 18 years of celebrating the Tirubhav ceremony of Sri Krishna Maharaj, is that I think this is just the most wonderful activity, because he showed by his own example how to dedicate your life to the spiritual master and his mission. So we learn from Prabhupada himself also that Prabhupada had nothing in his heart or his mind except the order of his spiritual master. And if you read his biography and some early disciples who were very intimate association with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada would discuss many times these things, that my only life's soul is to fulfill the order of my spiritual master. And I was thinking how I'm going to do it. Of course, he took shelter of Vrindavan, Vrindavan temple, Goswami's Swami, and sitting at the lotus feet of Goswami, he was praying. I have these instructions. I'm getting old every day. How am I going to fulfill this? And of course, Guru Goswami gave him the power, and Prabhupada said, that's it. no matter what, I am going to protect it. I am going to give this Krishna consciousness to the world. And in the process, if I leave my body, so be it. So Prabhupada was very, very bold in that, because he had only one focus: how to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. And those of you who know Bhakti-Srila Maharaj, he was also very focused, because Prabhupada gave him a particular instructions to fulfill. And all his life, he was trying to fulfill those instructions. And then at the end, when time came for him to depart this world, he very blissfully left this world, and remembering the pastimes of Radha and Krishna's separation in some of the Narottam Das Thakur songs. So, from the devotees who were with him in Calcutta that time, he was in his room. He was completely blissful listening to these Manipuri songs, but it is basically Narottam Das Thakur songs in Manipuri language. And he was listening to all this very, very deep separation of Radha and Krishna. And in that mood, he departed. And also when he departed this world, it was the most auspicious time of Dashera, where victory over evil was taking place. Ramachandra annihilated Ravana, established goodness. So all these things was very positive. And then for me, at least as a disciple, I think that he is such a glorious personality. And Radharani was very, very happy with him by his service to his spiritual master. He said, yes, you can come here in my Radha and make a samadhi here. It's not easy to have a samadhi in Radha. It's not even easy to have a samadhi here in Vrindavan. But if you're fortunate and you're favored by the Supreme Lord and his consort Radharani, then you may get the option of departing this particular world here in National Prashram or Radharani. Depends what is your rasa. So we are celebrating this today, and my humble request to all of you who are here, at 11 o'clock we are meeting in Gaushala, or ISKCON Gaushala, where we will observe the remembrance and memories of Srila Maharaj, and then after that we will offer you all a sumptuous feast, which was Srila very, very dear service he rendered. He was always very, very eager to serve prasadam to everyone. And I still remember we were going with him and being with him, and he being a guru, he would not take prasadam till the last. He would be there serving everyone. And he walk around in the line and make sure everybody has prasadam. And finally everything is done, and he would sit down and take some. So we feel very honored that we are also being able to do this service to the Vaishnavas who have come to the Holy Ram here in Krishna Balaram Mandir for our oncoming festival of Kartik. So please come and join us in Gaushala for our Tiruvava ceremony. And if you are free tomorrow, you are more than welcome to Radhakan also. On that note, I will stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this time to speak today. Some of my thoughts, although I am not qualified speaker on this subject, but since I was asked, and I thought maybe I will have to take the humble position and try to do something and speak something which is not for me. Hare Krishna. So anybody has any comments or want to make any corrections? Yes, Mr. Prabhu.
Time you wanted to serve all the devotees, Guru Damodar and others stopped and said, Lord, you sit down, we'll serve you, otherwise no one else will take prasad. So is there a standard, like you said, Maharaj, he serves everyone, but they wouldn't let Lord Chaitanya just serve the devotees. And sometimes it's say, Prabhupada was here, you may want to serve some devotees, but then some of the speaking devotees, they say, no, you sit down and we'll serve them. And just because you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I mean, my take on this is that out of our appreciation for the personality, we would like to say, no, we want to glorify you, you sit down, we want to serve you. But then there's a competition with who wants to serve who. So just like we hear from the pastimes of Vrindavan, all the gopis are all eager to serve each other. And then one pastime I know, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the Bengali Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, would come to Orissa to see Jagannath Puri, and specifically they would come to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. and the Odia Vaishnavas are there also. And there is a competition between the Odia Vaishnavas and the Bengal Vaishnavas. Who is going to serve whom? So there is this competition. And see, as I said, it is very difficult to become humble. So, if someone comes and offers you some honor, respect, sadhana, yes, I'm working on this. See, these people are actually recognizing my importance. But on the other hand, if you develop this consciousness, I want to serve, and the other person, I want to serve you, and then this serving attitude will then really make you Krishna consciousness. Because this whole movement of ISKCON is based on service. And who better to show us the mood of service than Prabhupada? In 26th Avenue, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Prabhupada will invite people to 26th Avenue. And they would do a kirtan, and then Prabhupada would give a lecture, and Prabhupada had already cooked for everyone. And then Prabhupada would feed everyone prasadam, and after everyone is, followed away with all the prasadam, they would go away. And Prabhupada is the first class Brahmana. So he starts cleaning up. Prabhupada cleans everything after all the guests have gone, and then he will go and clean up pots, everything, and then finally Prabhupada takes place. And then after some time, some people go to know Prabhupada more and say, Swamiji, can we do something? And Prabhupada says, oh, I'm so happy, grateful that you want to help me. And then Prabhupada engaged them. The point is that Prabhupada will show you by your example. Service is the thing which we have to develop. Service mood is the most important because even Krishna is eager to serve everyone. If Krishna is eager to serve everyone, then we should also develop that from Krishna himself. His topmost personality. Service is the name of the game. Is that okay to you? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else any?
Maharaj, thank you so much for such a wonderful class. Maharaj, as you mentioned that for you it is the greatest feeling of the Vrindavan festival is the greatest feeling for you. So Maharaj, my doubt is that how to develop such great realizations for even acharyas we didn't have the fortune of getting physical.
You see, when a great personality takes birth in this material world, so we celebrate the Yasa Puja of that personality appearance. But when he appears, he is not manifested any of his transcendental greatness. But when he disappears, he has left a long list of legacy and service and all great activities is performed by his own personal example to set for others to follow. And for me, after 18 years of sitting there, so I miss Maharaj. I wish he was still here. Wishes, if they came true, would be very nice, but it doesn't always come true. But then I realized that it is by his own exemplary way of life he dedicated himself to Prabhupada and his service. At least as a disciple, I should take that as my goal in life. Because he set an example, maybe not for everyone, but at least for his disciples. If his disciples actually follow this sincerely and emulate what the Guru did, then they will be also successful. So, we don't lament. We don't lament the departure of the person, but we feel that he has given us a lot to do in our lives, and engage ourselves fully until our end comes. So we have got a lot of work to do in our life, at least whatever life we have. We dedicate that in the same spirit. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
One more question. Is the time limit?
Okay, Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for the beautiful class. You mentioned, Maharaj, that I wanted to attract Prabhupada's mercy in my initial days. What, according to you think can attract Guru and Krishna's mercy the most easily and soonest?
Well, let's start from top. Krishna. Then his representative, the transcendental personality, once in a yuga in India, is Prabhupada. And then, of course, Prabhupada has left legacy of all the wonderful great Vaishnavas who are now living. serving Prabhupada in that mood. So, all these different personalities who are here, connected with Krishna and Prabhupada and ISKCON, they are setting an example of service. And service is most important. My realization more and more is that we have to develop this service attitude. Always be the servant. Because at the end of the day, what are we? Jivere Swarupa Nitya Krishna Das. We don't forget the Das. And then of course, Gopi Brata Kamala, Dasanu Das. Servant is servant. So everything is based on that. So we should develop that mode. I'm not just saying for saying, elaborate. Yes, we are all servant to servant. But we have to become a servant in the true sense. If you become a servant in the true sense, then that means we actually have understood the principle of Krishna consciousness. Because principle of Krishna consciousness, we serve the Vaishnavas, we serve the holy name, and of course Lord Chaitanya's mission. And if we can do even a small tiny fraction, we expand this mission of Prabhupada, then you will attract Lord Chaitanya's, Lord Prabhupada's, and all the acharyas, all parampara acharyas, once again. And if we don't do this, then we will be lamenting at the end of life. I had an opportunity, but I missed it. So don't miss this opportunity, because this opportunity only comes once in a lifetime. And Prabhupada, for me, Prabhupada is once in a blue moon he will come to this material world. So we understand now from this scripture that Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna, only comes once in the day of Brahma. And immediately after that, Lord Chaitanya comes. And immediately after that, His divine grace, SWAMI Prabhupada comes. So our next visit of Prabhupada will be the next day of Brahma. It's a long wait. But at least Prabhupada has left ISKCON, and he said he is ISKCON. So as long as we are in ISKCON, we will see Prabhupada. In every aspect of ISKCON, we see Prabhupada. You see Prabhupada, you see Prabhupada's disciples, you see Prabhupada's family, and everywhere you see Prabhupada. And then you just serve Prabhupada, that's all. Our life is only meant for that purpose. Otherwise, you'll be